Hello everyone, it's BeadBeauty here and welcome again to another video. So today we are going to learn about this beautiful beaded bucket or basket, or it's a beaded bag. So let's get right away into the video. So I have here on my table 12mm pearls, and this is wood bead in blue color. It's a wood bead, very beautiful, pretty blue. So we have my scissors and my 50-pound beading wire. This is how it's look like. So this is how the fishing, I'm just going to use fishing line, and this is how it's looking like. And I'm going to use regular scissors. So I'm going to start with 6 bead on the line, 6 bead, and we're going to make a little ring with this bead. I'm just going to hold and use the other line to go through the last bead and pull. So we make a little ring over here with the 6 bead we put on the line, and I'm going to continue. So on my left line I put 5 bead, and I'm going to cross the other line into the 5th bead and pull. Like this. Okay, now we have 2 rings. So this line into the next bead. So this line, I'm going to add 4 bead. And again, I'm going to use, this is how it's looking like, okay? This line into the next bead. This is how the shape is looking like, it's taking shape. This line, 4 bead. I'm going to go through the next bead, this line into the next bead. And I'm going to add 4 bead on the other line. So this is how the shape is looking like. This line, 4 bead. This line into the next bead. And on the other line, this one, add 4 bead. So over here, I'm going to go through this line into this bead and this one, these 2 bead. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to pull my line through those 2 beads. Like this. This is how your line should be looking like in the bead, okay? Now my line is in 3 bead, and I'm going to add 3 bead on the other line. This line, 3 bead. This line into the next bead. So the first step is complete. This is how the first step is going to look like. Okay. Now this line, I'm going to go through the next bead, so we continue the second step. This line, 4 bead. I'm going to go through this line into the next bead. And on my left line, 4 bead. So over here, I'm going to go through the middle bead and the side bead. The line is going to go through this and this one. And the number of bead I'm going to add, this is how it's looking like. Now my line is in 3 bead, and the number of bead I'm going to add to this line, 3 bead. This is how it's look like, this line into the next bead. And on this line, 4 bead. I'm going to go through the middle bead and the side bead. We are using the same technique for the first step, for the second step too. So I'm adding 3 bead over here. It's the same technique we use for the first step, the same thing we are using for the second step. It didn't change. Now into the next bead. Four bead. And I'm going to go through the middle bead and the side bead, this line into this bead and this one. And I'll be adding 3 bead on this line, 3 bead. I'm going to go through the next bead. And I'll be adding 4 bead. Going to go through the middle and the side bead. This one first, then I go through the second one. And the number of bead I'm going to add here, 3 bead. Again, this line into the next bead. And add 3 bead, 4 bead to the other line. This line, 4 bead. This line to this and 2 bead. The next 2 bead. And I'll be adding 3 bead. This line into the next 2 bead. And on my other line, I'll be adding 3 bead. Now the second step is now complete. This line I'm going to go through the next bead, so we start the third stage. This is how the second stage is looking like. Let me show you first. This is how the shape is looking like. This is what you have, like a little star. This is how it's looking like. And now my line is in 2 bead, so we are going to start with the 3rd stage. This line, 4 bead. And I'm going to go to the next 2. And add 3 bead. We are going to continue the same way round, the same technique we are going to use again. So if you complete, this is how the shape should look like. This is how it should look like. So we are going to continue again. This is the shape. So if you go round and complete it using the same technique that we use for the 1st and 2nd stage, you'll have something like this. So I'm going through the next bead over here, and I'll be adding 4 bead. We are using the same technique over here too. Into the next 2. This line, we are going to continue to the next bead, 3 bead, okay, into the next 2. The same technique I'm going to use over here too. It's the same technique I'm using. I'm going through the next 2 and I'll be adding 3 bead. 3 bead. So this line, I'm going to go through the corner bead. That's the corner bead, just 1 bead over there in the corner. I'm going to go through it. This line, 3 bead. My line is tangled, 3 bead. This is how it's looking like. So I'm going to go through the next 2 and come to the corner over here. So let's continue picking 2, adding 3 and come to the corner. I'm going to continue over here into the next 2. I'm going to add 3 bead. This line, 3 bead. Into the, I'm going to weave to the corner bead. So now that I'm there, I'm going to go through. So we have 6 corners, okay? 6 corners are going to take 3 beads on the corner. If you go through the corner, you add 3 bead. Over here, I'm in the corner bead. I'm going to add 3 bead. And I'm going to continue with my regular. You see how the shape is taking shape already here in the corner. Everything is taking shape. So we are going to add 3 to the corners to make the shape round. I'm going to go to the next 2 bead. And I'll be adding 3 bead. This line, 3 bead. And now I've come to another corner over here. This is another corner. I'm going to go through the corner bead into the corner bead. and I'll add 3 beads. So this is how all the corners are going to take. This is how the shape is taking place, and all round you are going to do it all round, the same technique that we are using. So take note of the corners, and this is what you have if you complete. This is the shape it should take if you complete the whole shape. If you go around it, all the corners, make sure the number in the corners are equal. So we are going to continue. I'm going to go through the next bead. And over here I'm going to use pearls and my wood bead. So I take 1 pearl, 2 bead, and another pearl. That's what I'm going to start this line with. I'm going to start this row with this line into the next bead. I'm going to go through the next 2 bead, okay? This is next 2 bead, and I'm adding 3 bead, 2 blue and 1 pearl into the next 2 bead. This line, 2 blue and 1 pearl. This is how it's looking like. Into the next 2 bead we are going to continue the same way, like that. You go around the shape. I'm adding 2 blue and 1 pearl. This is how it's looking like. This is how the design is looking like. We are going to go around the shape until we complete it. This is how it looks like. If you complete, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, this is how the shape is looking like. Very round. You take a round shape. So let's continue. I'm going to step up over here and build on this row. So what I want you to see is this. I'm going to go through, I leave two bead, okay? And I'm going to go through these 2 bead. These are the last bead remaining on the row. I'm going to go through these 2 bead. Then I'm going to use the same line to go through the pearl. Okay? Because we are stepping up over here, all we need is 2 bead to complete this row. This is how it's looking like. This line into the next bead. So now we are set to start a new row. Okay, now my line is in 2 bead on the top over here. This is how it's looking like. This is where my line is. And I'm going to start a new row. 4 bead. I'm going to go through the next 2 bead. This time I'm going to use only blue bead on the top of it. Then the next bead will be the pearl. We are going to do pattern with the bead. It's going to be beautiful pattern. So I'm adding 3 bead over here. The same technique we use for the first and second, third. The same thing we are going to use over here, but we are using blue bead. Go to the next 2 bead and add 3 bead. This line, 3 bead. go to the next two. So over here, go through 2 beads and add 3. 2 and add 3 all around the shape. And now we are on the last bead. This is how the shape is looking like, very round, beautiful shape. So here, this is the last 2 beads I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through the last 2 beads. And into the side bead over here, this one. Go to the side. And now my line is in 4 beads over here. Okay, this is how it's looking like. And the number of beads we need here to complete is 2 beads to complete this row. Now we step up again over here. I'm going to go to the next bead. Then we start the 3rd row. This is how the shape is looking like. Okay, so this line into the next bead. So over here I'm going to use pearl again to build on this one. So I take 1 pearl, blue bead, 2 blue bead, and 1 pearl. So 2 pearl in between, I put 2 blue beads. And I'm going to go through the next 2 beads. This line, 2 blue beads and 1 pearl. We are just going to repeat the same thing we did for the first row with the pearls. We are going to repeat over here. It's simple and easy. This is how it's looking like. And I'm going to go through the next 2 beads again and add 2 beads and 1 pearl. This is how the shape is looking like. Look at it, very beautiful. We are going to build on it and make it long. Into the next bead. The next 2 beads, I'm going to go through the next 2 beads and add 3 beads, 2 blue and 1 pearl. And this is how it's looking like. Okay, this is the shape. We are going to continue all around, repeat the same thing. Then we do blue on top of it. Repeat the same thing until it's long, the shape that you want it to. This is how it's looking like. So continue to make yours and I'll do mine off camera. Okay, now here we are. Our basket is complete to the level that I want. And we are going to continue to pull handle on it. This is how the shape is looking like. You can make yours anyhow you want it. You can make yours long or short. Make it to your desired length. So over here I take a fresh line and I'm going to go through this bead over here. This bead, I'm going to go around this circle over here and go to the top. So I'm going through the next bead. This one. Then I'm going to pull it through in between these 2 beads. My camera, I want the camera to focus before we continue. So I'm pulling my line through these 2 beads, over here. And the other line, I'm going to weave it through this, and this. So I come to the middle again, coming to the top bead. The same way I come with the first bead, I'm going through the opposite like this. This is how I want my line to look like. This is what I want it to be. So first I'm going to add this ring onto my line before I continue. So I drop the ring onto the line. And what I'm going to do here, we are just going to string bead on the line. So I'm going to string my bead on the line. Over here I'm using 16 and 18 millimeter pearl. That's what I'm using over here, 16 and 18. So I'm going to use 3 16 and 18 to finish it up. That's what I'm going to use for the handle. I'm going to string it to my desired length. You can make yours long or short. So I'm done, and I'm going to find the next, I'm going to find the middle on the next side, the other side. So I'm looking for the middle where I'm going to attach the other handle, and this is where it is. I'm just going to go through this bead round and come to the middle. So I'm going the same way we did the first one. I'm going around this bead like the first left, like how we did for the first one. Go round and come to this bead. So just find the middle on the other side of your back to attach the handle. This is where my line is, in between these two beads, and I'm going to hold it and tie. So tie and pull tight. You pull tight and make it stiff so the handle can stay stiff. So I'm just pulling my thread very tight. And the rest of this line, I'm just going to weave it back. This is how it's looking like. Okay, this is a beautiful bucket, a beaded bucket. I'm going to weave the rest of the line into the bead and trim it off. I'm just weaving the rest of the line into the bead over here. And this is how it's looking like. We're done. And the reason why I put the ring over here, that's the hook I put on each handle, the side of the handle. I made this long strap that we are going to hook on the hook or the ring that I put on the bead over there. So it has a claw that I can use to hook onto this ring over here like this. I'm just going to hook it on it. Hook the first one, and I'm going to hook the second one too on the other side. So I'm going to hook this one too on the other side over here. Voila, it's done. So this is our bag. This is our beaded basket, our beaded bucket. This is the handle, and it's long enough for your shoulder, so you can make it as long as you want. This is how it's looking like. So beautiful, so pretty beaded bucket. You can make one for yourself, make for your friends and family. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And please turn on your notification for new videos that I'll be uploading. See you in the next one.